Trump's worst nightmare? Canada's global rise exposed. In recent years, while the world's attention remained fixated on Washington's chaos, internal political drama, and headline-grabbing outbursts by former President Donald Trump, something monumental was happening just north of the border, and almost nobody in America was paying attention. Canada, often overshadowed in international affairs, has been making quiet but decisive moves on the global stage. Through strategic trade deals, aggressive diplomatic outreach, and major infrastructure and energy investments, Canada has slowly but surely positioned itself as a rising economic and geopolitical power. For Trump and his America First vision, this unfolding transformation represents nothing short of a nightmare. What was once considered America's polite neighbor is now being seen by many as a serious global contender, and perhaps even an alternative economic gateway for nations wary of Washington's instability. Trump, who built his political identity on punishing tariffs, isolationist policies, and aggressive rhetoric, never anticipated that Canada would step into the vacuum left by America's retreat from global leadership. While the U.S. was busy severing ties with old allies and withdrawing from trade agreements, Canada was signing new pacts with the European Union, with Asian economies, and even strengthening economic corridors with Africa and Latin America. These weren't just symbolic handshakes. Billions of dollars in exports, clean energy contracts, and tech partnerships were flowing toward Ottawa. The Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, with Europe, gave Canada preferred access to one of the largest markets on Earth, while U.S. exporters faced rising red tape and retaliatory duties thanks to Trump's combative trade stance. But the economic moves were just the beginning. Canada has also emerged as a leader in global diplomacy and climate action. While Trump mocked climate science and pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Agreement, Canada doubled down, investing in renewable energy and forming strategic alliances with countries leading the green transition. Canadian companies are now playing key roles in EV battery production, clean hydrogen, and sustainable agriculture, sectors the U.S. is scrambling to catch up in. And when it comes to diplomacy, Canada's soft power approach, multilingual outreach, and inclusive politics have earned it growing respect from international partners. Nations that once automatically deferred to the U.S. are now seriously considering Canada as a stable, predictable, and forward-looking alternative. And the military front? Even there, changes are evident. Canada has significantly upgraded its Arctic defense posture, forged closer defense ties with European and Indo-Pacific partners, and increased its participation in NATO missions. Meanwhile, Trump's threats to defund NATO and pull back U.S. troops from Europe rattled allies and weakened America's security reputation. As the world navigates an increasingly unstable multipolar order, trust in U.S. leadership has eroded, and Canada is quietly filling in the void with consistency and credibility. Now, with Trump still dominating the Republican Party and potentially eyeing a return to the White House, analysts say his biggest foreign policy blind spot may have been underestimating Canada. What was once viewed as an economic extension of the U.S. is now acting with independent strength. And this newfound Canadian confidence is reshaping how global markets view North America. Foreign investors are now pouring capital into Canadian tech hubs, real estate, and energy projects, while U.S. investments face increasing uncertainty due to internal political gridlock and abrupt policy changes. It's a shift that Trump never predicted, and one that's rattling D.C. more than most will publicly admit. For decades, the U.S. saw itself as the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere, with Canada playing a supportive role. But now the roles are beginning to blur, with big Washington divided, Trump shouting from the sidelines, and allies losing faith in America's commitment to the global order. Canada's quiet rise may just be Trump's worst geopolitical nightmare.